What's up, guys? So I'm here to do the delayed Fairy Tail review on the Fairy Tail special chapter. And again, very quickly, if you guys don't know, I have been on vacation, so that is why I'm releasing these videos pretty late. I just got back today. So this is on the Fairy Tail special that was released between chapter 345 and 346. So this is my very nerdy sort of chapter review on this chapter. Now, first off, I don't know if this is actually a chapter or not. It seems to be just like a sort of gag chapter, not an official chapter. But I was very surprised at the length. It's 30 pages long, so I was very surprised about that. There was a lot of meat and plot in this sort of mini story, and I wasn't expecting that much at all. Usually these gags are actually, I take that back. Most of the mini stories in Fairy Tail tend to drag on for quite a bit. I mean, remember that swimming arc where they all went to the water park? That lasted like 70 pages or something. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this. I guess it was just me used to how manga usually do sort of these mini filler slash non-canon things, and I guess I enjoyed it. Most amazing thing ever? No, but it was decent. The story was pretty simple. They want to see which team A or team B won out or was stronger, and they did it very lightheartedly. They did like a game of rock paper scissors to determine it rather than like an all-out fight. So that pretty much set the tone for it to be a very lighthearted, non-serious sort of chapter. And yeah, I really liked it, and it seems to, despite being after 345, this was set in the timeline right after the Mage tournament, so before they set sail to go on this whole adventure where they're trying to melt the ice in this giant's village. So this is before the chapter, even though it was released after chapter 345. And so I definitely understand why dudes will still like Fairy Tail. Sometimes the plot is a little dull, but this chapter really showed how the author is probably one of the best in the world right now at drawing realistic girls and making them very, very attractive throughout their body, from head to toe. This author has got the drawing down pat on drawing girls' bodily proportions. I mean, a lot of other authors get it wrong. I mean, even if you look at One Piece, which is the most sold manga of all time, I mean, sometimes their proportions are just off. I mean, One Piece girls have very, very, very thin waist to the point where it's almost ridiculous and non-human. It's like it's half the size of your neck, and then they got tremendous, like they have a tremendous bust that just doesn't make sense. Fairy Tail, I've never had complaints with Fairy Tail bodily proportions at all. Like, every single drawing in every single panel is like perfect. I really have to commend the author, and I was so curious to the point where I was like, what does the author look like? And I looked him up, and he turned out to be a guy who wasn't too fit himself, sort of like a skinny, scrawny Asian guy. And so I'm like, wow, because I was kind of expecting him to be some sort of fit dude who's very good with girls or something, because of these drawings. I mean, they were on point from head to toe. The bust of the girl, the tush of the girl, every bodily part of the girl is just drawn to the utmost proportion. And I mean, Lucy and Urza, they're just some drawings that are just like, that is the epitome of how I would like a girl to look. At least for me. I mean, it might be different for other people, but for me, perfect. And so that's what I loved about this sort of special. And yeah, they pretty much, so Urza's team loses the rock paper scissors, and they have to do like a sort of slave kind of thing for an entire day, and then everyone goes off to do the little slave thing, and it's very very simple, and they keep it kind of clean for the most part, and there's a very little bit of hinting towards very mature stuff constantly throughout, from the wardrobe to the spank punishment as humiliation, and then like the dressing Urza up in a maiden costume and spanking her, and doing the same thing to Lucy. And I just thought it was very nice, but um, it was done very delicately, so it was still very clean, and yet at the same time, there was a lot of hinting towards mature content. And the same thing was done at the very end with I forgot her name, but it was that little girl who was also a dragon slayer, and I can't believe I forgot her name. But yeah, it was done with her, and I thought it was kind of weird. I didn't like it with her mainly because she wasn't good looking. I mean, flat chest, tiny, underage girl, just wasn't working for me. And then you have, I believe her name was Oni-sama, constantly referencing these very vague, creepy sort of things like, I'm dressing you up in these risque costumes to meet an old man. And it was a sort of like a gag joke, obviously. But still, it was very creepy. It was like, I'm not telling you anything more. We're going to meet this old man, and he will be all over you. And then she was getting creeped out and stuff, and then it turned out, after like 10 pages of build-up, that he was a priest owner of an orphanage, and they just wanted to meet her to get like autographs and stuff. Still very creepy. Didn't like that part. Otherwise, very very nicely drawn. The plot, decent. There wasn't really that much plot in this little mini story, but I liked it overall. I really liked the drawings. Again, I would personally prefer more sort of plot, or at least more mature content rather than just these very vague references if you're going to do this kind of stuff. And I don't know, this guy has talent, and I'm sad that he probably doesn't speak English, or if he does, he probably won't watch this video or have any reason to take my advice for it. But there you have it. There's my review of this chapter. Hope you guys like it. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Like, rate, comment, and subscribe.